everyone. Good morning, and this is Pawan, and I am a GD for Flutter, Firebase, and Web Tech in India. And yes, I am here because I love to talk about Flutter, and you can find me at the rate I am the PK or on Twitter and other platforms. So now let's start. So let's start with what is VelocityX. Okay, so there are a lot of frameworks. If you are someone who has done web development initially, or you have been using a lot of libraries, and those libraries do too much, right? So what happens is that most of these UI libraries comes with pre-designed components like buttons, cards, and alerts, and all these things, which is like which can be good for some of the people who want to do something with those frameworks or libraries. But most of the time they force you to use their own components. And if you really want to use that, then Flutter is already having material design components, Qpert components, which are already the best. So we need something more which can help us in creating some custom design. So that's when VelocityX comes into the picture. So it's a minimalist Flutter framework which is inspired from TailwindCSS and SwiftUI, which you can use to rapidly build custom designs. So yeah, this started with my own personal project. I was kind of playing with TailwindCSS and SwiftUI, both of them, and then suddenly I thought about creating something similar for Flutter, which can actually ease the entire process. So so why even like VelocityX exists? Let's talk about that. So which widgets we use the most, right? That should be the question of the hour. And if you are a Flutter developer, you might be knowing that everything is a widget, and widgets are the most useful part of any Flutter application. So if you will go to this particular blog, I'll share the link of the slide soon. So or maybe on Twitter, so you can check it out there. So if this link is a kind of an article which is written on Medium, and thanks to James Williams for writing this. So in this article, he talks about which widgets, Flutter widgets, are useful, as well as which widgets you should learn first. And then he has done some kind of survey on some kind of repositories which are open sourced and others, and to see that which widgets has been used mostly. So results, if you'll see, then the results are like the number one widget which we use a lot is text. Then number two widget which we use a lot is container. Then padding, column, icon, row, size box, center, expanded, and scaffold. Okay, so this is based on some of the data which has been mostly taken from open source repositories. And even from my own experience, I think I agree with this list, and you might be agreeing with this list. So yes, these are all the widgets which we generally use a lot than you can even expect. So yeah, if you see the picture, so yeah, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you see this picture, then you can see this is a kind of a graph where we see that text has been used a lot more than container or padding and all these widgets. So this is a hierarchy. So if I'll just try to show you a broader picture, then you can see the text, and there is the frequency. So the number of frequency of text is much higher. Then the container is the second one, then padding, then column, then icon, then row, all these sort of widgets, right? So this makes our life a little bit kind of you can say that okay, these are the widgets which we use most, but how we can increase the timing of development, like decrease the timing but increase the productivity. So if you see another broader picture with 20 most frequent widgets which we use, then it's like again stack has been added, icon, button, material, position, and all these widgets has been added. So and now let's talk about text, because it is the most common widget which we use. Then you will see that default expression we use the most, like text and the string which we use. Then on the second number, styling is something which we use a lot. So by showing you this particular graph, what I mean is that you can see all the things which we use regularly, like we extract these widgets most of the time. Let's say if you have a row, and inside that there is a column as well, and then there are a couple of widgets, then we extract it as a widget. But if you work in a team, maybe after some time you will forget about it, and you again are on the same line, right? That how we can we don't want to rewrite everything again and again. We don't want to write text style again and again and showing all the styles and all. So similarly, if we see the container, then obviously child is the most frequent thing which we use. Then you will see height is something which we use, width and height, then padding, then obviously alignment, color, and decoration. So now what is VelocityX and how it can help you? So VelocityX, a utility first framework, by which I mean is that VelocityX does not give you predefined widgets. Like it can have some of the widgets, but it's a utility first framework, which means it gives you utilities which you can use to build your custom design. And it's not a UI kit, which means that it's not something similar to Bootstrap or even material design, where it gives you pre-made components. There are some pre-made components, but those are mostly utility oriented. So it supports responsive design, which means is that it kind of gives you flexibility in terms of some widgets, in terms of some extension method, which helps you in creating responsive design. I'll talk about it. Component friendly, which means that even if you are using some existing pattern, or let's say if you have existing text and all, then also on the top of it you can use VelocityX. So it's not like you have to build everything from scratch to use it. And yes, VelocityX is mostly about collection of common tools which we generally use with every application. Now what VelocityX offers is that if you are using VelocityX, then it can decrease your code writing by 40%. So which means that you have to write 40% less code most of the time for writing UIs, and it supports responsive design, as I already stated. So now talking more about it. So right now you can go to velocityx.dev to check out how there's a documentation. It's not entirely complete, but yes, it will mostly help you in getting started. And I have been working on it regularly, so there will be more updates coming to it. Now let's talk about the VelocityX workflow. Okay, and I'll also show you a demo if we will have time. So there's one golden rule which which we have to use when we are using VelocityX. And the golden rule is that you will use methods when you have to access a widget, or you have to set a particular value. And if you want to use some properties of that widget, or if you want to get some value, then you will use getters. And I'll show you how that works. Apart from that, if you see this example, then you can see this is how the VelocityX workflow looks like. Okay, so you have a chain kind of system where you can just have a string, let's say VelocityX, then you will say .text, which means a text widget, and .make. So make is something which we use to finalize something. Okay, and I'm gonna explain all of these things in a very easier way when I'll show you the demo. So a lot of you might be wondering that, okay, we have already some other packages, let's say styled widgets or division and some similar packages, right? So to be honest, when I made VelocityX, I didn't know about the existence of these packages because I had a very different plan. But then when I saw it, then it was very clear to me that it is very different, because these widgets are not very not widgets, but packages are not very performance oriented. So basically what happens with every property which you use, they kind of create a wrapper of another widget. Let's say if you are using a container, then you want to add some color, then it uses another decorated box on the top of it. Then if you want to make it rounded, then it uses another decorated box, which comes with performance penalty. And that's been the idea of VelocityX, to not affect any kind of performance of your application, but rather using the beauty of Flutter with some sort of good techniques to give you the best way to ease your work of writing UIs. So the process, if you see the VelocityX process, so there are 4 steps. So we start with a widget or a data. Let's say our string is there, velocity x. Okay, and then we have to use our any velocity x widget or extension. So let's say we want to use text, so we can just say dot text, and then we can append all the properties which you want. Let's say xl2, red 500, center, and bold. And then at the end, to make it complete, okay, so VelocityX internally uses a builder pattern which makes it possible to have the power of hot reload as well, and then easy customization. So by make or make centered, you actually tell the framework that, okay, I am done with this particular widget, and it also helps you in chaining your widgets in such a way that you identify which widget is ending where. Okay, so that's how you use VelocityX, and this is the process. And let me talk about the components. So VelocityX kind of gives you a lot of components. So you can use VelocityX for text, selectable text, rich text, whatever you want. Then similarly, you can use box, animated box. So box is nothing but container, and cards, so padding, margin, sized box, list, gesture, transform, all these things VelocityX supports as of today. And even if you want to do lot of more customizations, then also you can do. So lot of the components are also inspired from Tailwind CSS, as I mentioned. So if we see about more features, then VelocityX comes with swiper, VX swiper. It gives you shimmer effect, like with just one single word of code. Then you can support new morphism if you want. A new widget which I have added is VX pop-up menu, which use overlays to show pop-ups in a easier way, so you can easily build pop-ups. Then there is VX random box, which you can use during development to check how many times a build method is getting called. And VX conditional and conditional switch, so that it can easily help you in applying any condition to your widgets. Then VX device and VX responsive are a couple of widgets which you can use for responsive designs. Then there are a lot of super extensions which you can use with VelocityX. And even like there are some widgets and extension both available, so you can mix them and use them together. Then there is generous palette of colors, which is again taken from Tailwind CSS, and there are a lot of utilities as well. So yeah, I have been talking a lot about extensions in all my talks because I feel that extensions are very powerful, and you can use them. If you use them wisely, then it can really help you a lot. And most of this extension I used to write separately for my apps, and then I thought about using them with VelocityX. So for example, if you see this particular slide, then we have been talking about all the context extensions. Okay, so build context we use everywhere in our Flutter app, and if you want to use this context extension, then you can use like VelocityX, and it gives you a lot of things. It gives you screen width, screen height by just one word of code. It gives you if your device is of mobile window size or not. It gives you orientation. It gives you the width and height in percentage, which you can definitely use for, again, responsive design. So this is one example where we are using context extensions. Similarly, there are a lot of extensions for string, for integer, for lists, even for different widgets. So we'll see that as well. And again, see, so this is taken from velocityx.dev website. So you can go there and you can check out VX device, VX responsive. These are two widgets which you can use to support responsive design. So VX device is nothing but it gives you two properties. One is for mobile and one is for non-mobile, which we call web. So basically, most of the time what happens with me is that my designs are mostly either for a smaller screen, which is web, which is mobile, and otherwise it is for broader screens, which I call web. But let's say if you have a more specific use case where you want to also have medium devices, large, extra large, and all those sort of things, and you want to more customize it, so you can use something called VX responsive, where you have small, extra small, medium, large, and all these things, and with a fallback as well. So if you don't provide any of that, then fallback will be called. So you can use VX conditional and all to even add more to it. So that's one thing. So you can go to this video where I have talked about responsive UI using VelocityX, so you can check it out. Now moving ahead, it's so how you will install VelocityX. Okay, so it's very simple. If you are already sold to the idea, then you can go to your pubspec.yaml and you can, in the dependencies, you can use VelocityX. Current version is 0.5.0, which was just released this week only. And then you have to just run flutter pub get, or you can just say flutter packages get, and then you will just import VelocityX like this. And yes, so let's see some code, and probably that will be more useful rather than just showing the presentation. So if I stop sharing this thing and let me share, 1 second. So if I can. Okay, so this is my screen, if you can see right now. So what I am doing here is that in the pubspec.yaml, okay, I have added VelocityX, and as you can see, the version is 0.5.0, and I have a lib folder where I have main.dart, where I am just calling a demo page, and I have this demo page here where I have a title called DevFest Italia. And then we have a VX app bar where we have search bar to true. And in the title, as you can see, how we specify title.text.bold.make. Let me run it on my Windows machine and let's see what we get. 1 second. Let's see how it works. And then we will move back to slides just after that. So let me bring this here. So you can see this is my Windows application which I am trying to run. I am on Flutter master, so that's why I can see that. And now what I'll do, I'll readjust my this thing like this, probably like this. Okay, give me a moment. So as you can see, we have an app bar with a search bar functionality as well, and you can have search like controller and all you can specify here. Now let's say if we want to write a body, okay, so we can use body. Similarly to row, column, and stack, we have v stack, h stack, and z stack. So for column, I can just say, let's say v stack, okay, and in that I can have children. So first children, let's say I say hi DevFest Italia, and I can just say dot text, okay, and I can say, let's say my text would be there, so dot make to complete it, and make center to make it centered as well. So you can see I have the text on the right hand side, hi DevFest Italia. Now if you want to apply styling to it, so I'll just say, let's say dot text dot XL3. So it will give me XL3 size. Let's say I want to add some color to it. So let's say I add blue 700, something like this. Then you can see I have that as well. Then let's say if I want to make it bold, sorry. So I can, 1 second, I can make it bold as well. And you can see now it is bold, right? So this is one part of it. So this chaining is basically you can append it with, let's say you can have a box as well. So we can just say dot box dot make. So it will wrap it with a container. Now we have a box as well. So now what I'll show you, let's say I want to give this box some color. So I can say, let's say red 500, something like this. So we have a box, and we want to give some padding as well to this entire widget. So at the end we can just say p16, which means padding from all the direction, p16. And inside this box also we want to give some padding. So let's say dot p12 is the padding we got inside the box. Let's make this box a little bit rounded. So we can say rounded small, and you can see now it is rounded. If you want to apply gradient, you can do that as well. And similarly, you can see we have shadow. If I want to give some shadow, then also I can give some shadow to it. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a shadow now. And similarly, I can, I can do a lot more stuff. Let's say if I say, what else we can do? So we can see, you can see that we can have clip, color, border. So there are methods as well which you can use if you want to specify some logic you want to write. Let's say we want to make it neumorphic. Okay, that we can see. So let's give this background color something very similar. Let's say VX red 500. So we have this color, and let's make this this particular box a little bit neumorphic. So I can say neumorphic, and it will ask me for color. So I'll say VX dot red 500. And then it will ask me for curve, and I can use different curves. Let's say VX curve dot convex, and you can see that it gives a neumorphic design. I can give some elevation, let's say 12, even more if you want, 15, and you can see the effect here. Let's try flat. So yeah, this is how you can make it neumorphic as well, and a lot of things you can do with VelocityX, and you can see the lines of code which we have been using. Similarly, let's say I want to say that if it's a mobile, then the color, or maybe what I can do, let's remove this neumorphic thing, and let's say I want to add a property called color. So we want to say if it is mobile, then vx dot is mobile. So we can use context for that. Context dot is mobile. Then we want to set color as green. Otherwise, we want to set the color as let's say something else. Let's say pink. So now you can see we are on mobile window size, so that's why it's green. If I go to, so you can see now it turned to pink when we went to something similar to like non-mobile size. Okay, so similarly you can use VX device and all those different widgets. We have a lot of widgets which you can use. Now I'll go back, like I can talk about it for hours, and it will not stop. Because it's a long thing which we can do, but right now I just wanted to give you some idea that how easy it is to play with these things and do a lot of things. Let's say one more example I can give you. If you want to have some kind of pop-up, then you can use. Okay, so before we do that, let me just also tell you how it is widget friendly. So quickly I will see. Let's say you have a text already, and let's remove. Okay, we have a text here. Let's remove this background color, it looks ugly. And text we have, let's say hi Pawan. Okay, and this text also have some styling in the default way, like how we do styling in Flutter. So text style, let's say we have, and we make the font size as 24. Okay, so this is something which we already have. Or if you want to say font weight, then let's give that as well. And now let's say I give it font weight dot bold. Okay, now let's say if you want to apply some more some VelocityX to it, so after this text you can just say dot text dot make, and this will convert it to VelocityX. How? Let's say if I want to change the color now, I can just say, let's say blue 400, and you can see it will apply to this color using all the existing properties. If I want to make it like extra large 3, then you can see that will also work. Extra large will also work. Extra large 6 will also work, right? So you can do all these sort of things as well. And let's say for a pop-up menu, we can quickly see. Let's say I have a pop-up menu which I want to use for child. Let's say I have a text called hi. And for click type, I can say just VX click type dot single click, and menu I can create quickly. So I'll just create a menu here, which you'll see how easy it will be. So menu, I'll have a container, let's say, and in the container I actually have a row with 2 children. One would be icon, where I can just say icons dot chat icon, and similarly we will have 20 dot width box. So you can see extension methods coming into picture, and then I can just say let's say a text called chat. So chat.text.make, and that's it. I have this hi here, and let's give some padding as well. Let's say p16, and this container is here. Now if I click here, then you will see we have a box here which is not looking very good, but let's give it a color. And then you can see we have this which is not having any padding, so we can also give it some padding. And now if I click here, so you can see we have a cool, let's also give some arrow color. So arrow color is also white to match it. And now if I click here, then you can see we have a cool pop-up here which you can make it clickable using Inkwell or something. And yes, you can add more items to it and it works really good. So now I'll stop sharing this code, and I'll finish my presentation quickly without taking a lot of your guys' time. And one sec. So yeah, we actually saw the code, how easy it is to use VelocityX. This is just one demonstration. There can be many things which we can do. Now, if we see this example on the right hand side, we have a particular widget which is having a lot of components. So for normally we use 124 lines of code to write this, as you can see on the left hand side. Obviously it's not visible that much because it is just too much lines of code, but yes, 124. And if you want to write the same thing using VelocityX, then can you like guess how many lines of code you might have to write? So you have to just write 29 lines of code and you can almost make the similar widget. Yeah, it's exactly the same widget which you can do with just 29 lines of code. So that's just to give you an idea. Apart from that, VelocityX offers a lot of extension methods, utilities and all, which is not even I have talked about as of now. But yes, there can be a lot of things which you can do, right? So yes, so it's an open source project. You can check it out. I have been maintaining it mostly by myself, and there are a couple of other like pull requests and all. Some of the developers also do that. So yeah, you can check it out, and if you like, then you can give it a star as well on and thumbs up on pub.dev as well. And velocityx.dev is the website which you can visit. Also, if you can use the pub.dev Dart tooling to check all the documentation, which is not available on, let's say, velocityx.dev. But yes, there will be a lot more additions to it will happen soon. And I also run a YouTube channel called mTechViral, which have like 72,000 plus subscribers. So you can go there and you can watch more tutorials if you want to learn more about it or more about Flutter. And yes, that's it, I guess. Thank you so much for joining this talk. And this is Pawan. I am the PK is my Twitter handle. And you can also find me on youtube.com/mtechviral. And you can also go to pawan.live to find all other links, whichever you want to go through. And thanks again to DevFest Italia for giving me this opportunity to present this thing to you. And thank you all of you for joining.
Okay, thank you for your talk, Pawan. Please stop the sharing.
Yes.
Perfect. We have 4 questions for you.
Sure.
Okay. So the first one is, does VelocityX support the integration of the block pattern Flutter block?
So yeah, I mean, you can use any package with VelocityX. It's not a problem at all. Whether you are using block pattern, whether you are using provider, whatever you are using, it will work with all of these. So it's just for writing UI. So I don't think it has to do anything with any, you know, third-party package for state management or any other thing. Yeah.
Okay. Second one, in your experience, how much VelocityX did speed up the development? Can you value it in percentage?
Yes, I have not done any kind of, you know, analysis in depth, but based on my experience, I can definitely tell you that it will increase your development by 50%, which means almost like your productivity level will be 2x. Because we know Flutter is already very fast, but yeah, the idea behind VelocityX to make it more faster and use some sort of tooling which can definitely help you in writing things in a very, very easier way as well. And also to, you know, like increase the speed. So that's been always the idea of VelocityX.
Okay. Next, is it available also for web?
Yes, it works with every platform, and it will always work with every platform. So if you're using mobile, it's okay. You can use it, web, Windows, whatever you want to. So I was right now using it on Windows, as you saw. So it supports, it's a pure Dart package. So wherever Dart is supported, it will be supported as well.
Okay, last one. Did you try it with the provider and other state management libraries patterns, and which one fits better with VelocityX?
Yeah, very interesting question. As I stated, it doesn't have any relation with any state management, but yes, I use block pattern as well, and I use provider as well, and I have been using VelocityX before even it was released to public. So and I know a lot of other companies in India who are using now VelocityX in their production apps as well, and a lot of feedback which I get regularly has been always positive. So yes, I mean it works with everything. It does not have any kind of restriction on platform, library, or even with any state management sort of package. So yeah, it works all the time.
Okay, thank you. That's all. So thank you for your talk. Thank you for joining us at DevFest Italy 2020. I hope to see you next year in presence.
Thank you so much.
And have a good day.
Thanks, yeah, to you too, and thanks audience for joining.
We have another question.
Sure, we can take it.
Yeah. Version 0.5, does it mean that it's still not in release? Do you plan to make important change from now?
No. So yeah, I can take this question. So yeah, it is it's definitely up for production. Everyone has been using it, including me as well. Why it's 0.5.0, I'll tell you. The reason has been that initially there has been a lot of changes. So I rewrote this library a couple of times initially, but then why it never went to 1.0 is because of some roadmap which I have right now. It's not public, but our roadmap I have like supporting more animations and all those things. So that's why it never reached to 1.0. But to be honest, it's just a number. It's very much available for production. But yes, there will be no major changes because it can break all of the existing stuff. So you can be very much sure about it. There will be no major changes unless there is a change in the framework. Like there is, for example, I'll give you an example that recently Stack widget removed overflow support from it. So because of there was some rendering issues which were happening, like it was causing the performance. So similarly, VelocityX has to take this decision as well, and it has been removed. So those kind of changes can happen, but mostly there will not be any major change. And we are reaching soon, very soon, to 1.0 as well. In that sense, that we have some couple of features in mind which I really want to do to make it 1.0. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, that's all. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye, guys. Take care.
Bye.